Well. Today we are going to build this beautiful login page using Flutter. Let me show you how it works. This is our login page. Here is our input box. There is two input boxes, and there is login button. I think I missed like the text color is blue. That's going to be white. We'll fix it later when we are building together. Here is our sign up page. There is the same error for our button because we are going to use some widgets. We are going to fix it. That's how we are going to build this login page. There is a lot of features. If you like each other for a long period of time, we are going to build our CRUD application based on this beautiful login page. Okay, how we are going to build this login page? We are going to use clean architecture, industry standard clean architecture code. What does that mean? We are going to use three kind of layers: domain, data, and presentation layer. What does that mean? The domain layer is going to help us to build the architectural level or the blueprint of the application. Like when we are building the house, the first thing we are going to do is like building the blueprint. Still the same. When you are building an application, the first thing you need to do is like creating that blueprint. After that, we are going to build our data layer. Our data layer help us like to manipulate our data. We are going to fetch some data from our REST API and change into some models, or if you wanna push some data, we are going to change that object into JSON data and push it to the server. That's how we are going to do it. The last one we are going to working on is our presentation layer. Presentation layer is like our UI page, but when we are building our presentation layer, we are going to use block for our state management, because like we are going to use industry standard clean architecture code. We are going to follow that rule. That's how we are going to do it. Okay, let's get back to our code. There is our code when we are running. There is some data. Okay, let's run some program. Okay, inside our lib, let's create those folder structures: data, domain, and presentation. Before that, what we are going to do is future, future. Inside our future, we are going to build like out. Inside out, the first thing we need to build is domain. Inside our domain, there is one another folder. Let's call it entity. Then we are going to create our file entity or login entity dot. Inside this file, let's create our entity. Let's create a class and let's name it login entity, and we are going to extend our equitable eq. Oh, if you want to use our equitable function, let's install some package. Equitable Flutter. You need to install this package. We're going to install it. Can copy paste these things. I know it's not going to be the nice way to install some package using like this. Our final is going to be a string of email and password. We are going to initialize those things to build our entity. After that, we need to create a constructor for this page, for this class, or this page. Oh, we need to create a constructor. That's how we are going to create a constructor. For this implementation, note we are going to through unimplemented. We are going to pass our email and password. That's how we are going to implement this thing. Let's call this thing because it shows us that blue thing. What am I missing? There is something. I didn't miss anything. Overall, that's how creating our entity. After creating our entity, we need to create another thing, repository. Repository. Okay, let's call it out repository. So that before creating our repository, we just miss one thing in our entity. Let me give you like the whole description about this login entity. Login entity means like that thing is when we are creating like how am I going to explain this thing? You need to push some data that is coming from our body. That thing is our email and our password. What happens when we are pushing or sending this email and the password? What we are going to expect? We are going to expect some data to verify if this email or password is verified or wrong password. I have no idea. If it is going to be successful, it's going to be sending some data. For that thing, let's call it out 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 info. So that at this time you are going to do the same thing like login entity, but we are going to change something. At this time we are going to accept some token when we are pushing our email and password. If that thing is verified or success state, we are going to the server is going to return us some token. To build that, out info is going to extend executable, we are going to do the same thing. Final string token. For this token, we are going to create some constructor. Let me write it at this time by manual, but the next time we are going to use an authentication required this token. That's how we are going to build constructor, and we are going to override this thing. But at this time, we are not going to show an implemented error. We are going to show or return our token. That's how we are going to build it. What am I missing? Let's come to this thing. And we miss there is semicolon. If you want to rewrite this thing in manually, that's how we are going to do. It means like we are going to send login entity and we are going to accept out info. In our repository, how we are going to do it, we need to do something. We need to connect it from our use case. Let's create an abstract class and name it an out repository. Then we are going to create future value. Our future is going to be either it's going to need some package called darters. Let's install this package. Either failure or let's rename this thing into identity. So it's going to be create complete for our sign up out entity. What the heck? In PT. Uh-uh. Either pair or our entity. Our failure is not created, but we are going to create it in the future. I'll show you how to create it. Let's log in it. When we are logging it, we are going to pass our login entity. Login entity log in entity. The, the only thing we didn't create is our failure. To create our failure, let's create a core value. Core, core, and failure, failure dot. How we are going to create a failure. Let me show you. Let's create an abstract class. Name failure. And we are going to extend with equity over const failure. This is going to be conclusion and let's override it. Over it's going to be props and we are going to return an empty thing. For that, like we can create any kind of failure depending on this thing, and it's not nullable. Okay, the first thing is going to be server failure x last server failure extend this. So I got a flu. We are going to extend this failure. That's it. The first thing we need to do, and you can call this failure anytime. That's how we are going to build our repository. The last thing we need to do is build our use case. This is the last thing we are going to build in our domain layer or our blueprint. Okay, inside domain there is something else. Use case dash out or log in use case dot. Now we are going to build our use case. To build the use case, login use case, and we are going to extend. At this time, we are not going to extend with equitable. We are going to extend with our use case. Let's create our use cases. Use case dot inside this thing abstract class. Let's create use case. And it's going to accept some types and params. Parameters and our feature value is going to be either failure or this type, and we are going to call this parameter like our repositories. That's how we are going to build our use case, and we are going to extend those use cases. It's going to import automatically, and we are going to pass two parameters that thing is allowed. The first thing is type. For our type is going to be authenticity, because that thing is going to be returned after when we are pushing those login entities, and what we are going to push those login entity. Means like our login entity is going to be our parameter, and this thing is our type. That's how we are going to do it. Then let's call it our repository, and let's create some constructor for this out repository. Again, the use case is going to require out repository dot out repository. After that, we are going to override it with params. I think kind of add like this one, but we don't need an implemented error. We are going to implement something for this one. What we are going to do, if you pass this parameter, and you are going to accept our entity, how we are going to do it. Let's call it, we are going to return out repository dot login is params, but everything is like synchronous. For this thing, we are going to use async, and when we are returning, we are going to use await. Oh, we are going to await this repository because it's synchronous. We are going to wait a little bit time to load it. Overall, like that's how we are going to build our domain layer. The next time I'm going to show you how to build a data layer. Then the presentation layer, that's all we are going to do it. Thank you for listening. If you have any comment or if you need any improvement, you can leave a comment plus subscribe my channel.